Alright, hello everyone. This is Tanya from Kitfox Games giving you our July dev vlog update. So I'm going to tell you all about what we've been up to and what we'll be doing for the next month. So July was pretty intense so far. We just started working on the cooking system, which you can see a very temporary mock-up here, where you combine two items to make different stews and soups and steaks and things like that. This is, again, just a mock-up. This is not a screenshot. You might be able to see behind me Marcelo, who's been working on the, hi Marcelo, on the cooking system, among other things. But for now, this is a preview. Maybe next time we can show you a little clip or GIF of the system in action. Yeah, we haven't even done the animations yet, but the idea is when you camp, you can choose cooking among the other activities, and cooking is a special little mini menu, and depending on what you make, you can get different effects, and some are good and some are not so good, but either way, it'll be fun to unlock recipes which stick with you from playthrough to playthrough, so you can unlock all of them over the course of your different adventures. If you've been following us on Facebook, you can see various updates. There's Kit working on the Sun Cultist, but also Mike Ditchburn has been working on making the world generation more interesting. So before, it used to be more like an ink dropper, which would drop different biomes on parts of the map, whereas now it's more like a board game. So there's little like honeycombs of tiles that we hand build, and then the game system puts them together and puts water around them in different ways. Now this is still a work in progress, and you can see there's a lot of empty holes that are going to be filled with interesting levels and content and more cities and things like that. But for now, it's definitely looking much more interesting and actually less random, but in a good way. So good job, Mike. And Sin has been working on updating the interface to look more watercolored. So previously we had we had the pixel art world, and we had the interface, and then we had the watercolor portraits. And the interface style used to be somewhere in between pixels and watercolor. It was like half and half. And now we're pushing it much closer to watercolor. So it's much more like the world is this abstract memory of the ancient world, whereas when you go talk to someone or you look at something, you get the reality of it, the high resolution beauty of what you're looking at. So we'll play test that and see how players like it. And I don't know if you remember, we mentioned in May that Sin went and gave a talk on pixel art techniques. So if you're interested in the art style of Moonhunters and how it's developed over time and what techniques he uses and what inspirations he uses for the different color palettes and lighting systems and asset bundling and digital watercolor, like all of it, Sin spent 22 minutes going over his techniques for you, so you can go check that out on YouTube. And I found it pretty educational, and I sit next to him all day, so. And last month we went to E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, as it used to be called. This was our booth. For 3 days I stood there and helped people play the game and check it out and learn more about Moonhunters and Kitfox, and had a bunch of press interviews, and generally had a pretty good time showing the game, but it was a lot of work, pretty tired for a week afterwards. One of the best interviews that I had was on GameSpot with Mary. You can see here, this is us hanging out, and we're going to start playing Moonhunters together for 10 minutes. You probably know everything that I'm going to say in that video, so you probably don't have to watch it, but you can send it to friends if you know people who might be interested in seeing a really raw 10-minute playthrough. We also, from that showing at E3, got on a bunch of best of lists. So this is us being in the top 9 games. You can see us next to these other cool games. There's Moonhunters, Tech Void, games you may have missed, which hopefully you didn't. Hopefully you were watching very eagerly. RP Gamer, which I think is how they pronounce it, have their own little play video where they were filming themselves playing it, and they really enjoyed it. We had 4 different RP Gamer people come by, so that was fun. iDigital Times did a little write-up on us. And interestingly, Handmade Games is doing a series called Indie Games Level Up, which is talking to different Canadian indie devs. So I talk a little bit about the inspirations, and you get to see a little bit more of the footage. This guy asking me various questions. And then we get to the interviews, so lots and lots of interviews. This is me talking to CG Magazine about Kitfox and Pixels, which is a women in games organization I run in my free time. And PS4 Home also talked to me about developing for the PlayStation. N4G did a whole day about Kitfox, including an interview on Moon Hunters, and I wrote a little article on how to be a terrible game designer. So that's something that's fun. And Women Write About Comics also talked to me about my sentiment that there can never be too many games. No matter how many games there should always be more. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. And that's kind of it for the coverage. There might be more coming up, as always, but we'll include that in next month's update. And I mentioned Marcelo, so if you want to follow Marcelo, he's with us for at least a few months, maybe longer, we'll see. And in the meantime, he's Scientist Sloth on Twitter, and he's a fun guy that's good to have around, so we're welcoming him to the team. And last week, we, four of us, so me, Sin, Jongwoo, and Marcelo, all went up to a cabin, and we hung out with a bunch of other Montreal indie devs. And we made this. This is the Path More Taken, which maybe we can actually hear the little music is kind of cute. Yeah, there it is. So you can see you make little paths through the national park. And yeah, we did that basically for 2 days. We made this game. You get to see what people think of your park. But yeah, that's the Path More Taken. You can go check it out and play it for free right now in your browser. And me and Mike Horowitz and Jongwoo also, a few weeks ago, made a little chatbot game called ICQ, where somebody from your past chats with you and tries to, well, you can find out for yourself if you want to go play it. And this is letting you know that we're working on the Songweaver and the Sun Cultist characters. We're designing their abilities and their animations. This one probably won't make it into the game, but it was Mike Horowitz's initial idea of what the Songweaver could do, and she's very excited and happy. So right now, the way the design of the characters works is that the Songweaver is always playing as she runs around, and her songs are how she supports the players near her or does a little bit of damage to enemies nearby, but she's pretty dangerous to play alone. Whereas the Sun Cultist is dangerous just all the time to everybody. He's setting everything on fire when he prays to the sun. So we can show more about that next month, but they're still pretty rough right now. And meanwhile, we're also working on the, well, I won't tell you exactly what his deal is, but the lava golem that you saw from the trailer, which everyone's very excited about. Jongwoo is actually prototyping initial versions for him right now. Oh, I can't read phase 2. Definitely don't see phase 2. This might change a lot as we play test, but Jongwoo says it's working out pretty well. I can see, oh, there he is, prototyping right now. And that's basically it for us. This is the late July. We still have 6 months until Moon Hunters comes out in January 21st. And for those of you that bought at the beta tier, we'll be having the backer beta probably late October to mid-November is when we'll start, and we'll get your opinion, get your bug reports before it comes out in January. So we have 3 months, basically. We have August, September, October to really, really hammer that out before you see it, and hopefully you'll like it as much as we're liking it. But before you go, I also wanted to give a little shout out. We haven't given a shout out in like 6 months, so here's a shout out to XO, which is a cool neon spaceshipy kind of game where you pew pew and try to survive. And they went through the Square Enix Collective like we did, and they're in my old college town of Portland. So I'm wishing them luck. They still have 28 days to go, and they're already halfway there, so we're probably going to make it. But that's it for us. Have an excellent rest of your July, and we'll talk to you in August. Bye!